Hey guys, Night Cruiser MA. When Polaris bought the Indian motorcycle name in 2011, people were understandably skeptical. Indian had been resurrected twice since originally going out of business in 1953. But Polaris was serious and has, starting in late 2013, brought an amazing array of motorcycles to the Indian line. The Chief Vintage, the Chieftain, the Scout, the Roadmaster, the Springfield, and all the Dark Horse variants have all appeared in the last 2.5 years. So once Indian got rolling, Victory enthusiasts kind of wondered what would happen to their beloved brand. Polaris had spent so much money and so many man hours on the Indian line that at the end of 2014, Victory almost seemed to be stagnant. But really what happened is that Polaris, using Indian to compete with Harley, allowed Victory to become its own brand with its own direction. And in fact, Victory, I think, has benefited from the time and money that Polaris spent on Indian. Today, I am here at Mom's Foxborough with the 2016 Victory Octane. This bike is a very big deal for Victory. It's the first ever water-cooled bike made by Victory. You might think by looking at it that it's just an Indian Scout rebadged, but it's really not that simple. While it shares the same frame, the engine displacement is in fact slightly bigger. It's bored out by 2 millimeters, which makes this an 1179cc engine as compared to the Scout's 1133. It generates 4 more horsepower, 104 compared to the Scout's 100, and 76 pound-feet of torque. And again, that's 4 more than the Scout. This is Victory's most powerful bike yet, and it's also their lightest bike yet, so it's their fastest bike yet. 0 to 60 comes in a very uncruiser-like 4 seconds. It's got a low 25.9-inch seat height, so it's awfully nice for shorter riders like me, although taller riders I've talked to really seem to have no issues feeling at home on the Octane. The only real downsides I see on this bike, on paper, are one, there's only 3 inches of travel in the rear, and I think that while it's normal for this segment of bikes, like the Harley Sportster and things like that, I find it hard to believe that Victory couldn't give us an extra 1/2 inch or even an inch. 2, only a single disc brake up front. I'm not sure how that'll play out on the road these days, but I would expect dual discs, especially on something as quick as this. If you like matte gray, you're going to love this bike because this is the only color available for 2016. It's almost completely devoid of chrome. Victory has an assortment of accessory bars and foot controls for the Octane, so what I feel out on the road, as far as comfort on the ride, it may not be indicative of the comfort level that you would feel, because if this were my own bike and I put my own bars on where I wanted them, it might be different. It's got a nice steep 29-degree rake here, so the handling should be pretty crisp. The bike starts at $10,499. The upgrades you might want on here, like new pipes for instance, might push it up by $1,000 or so, but really that's something that you'd want on almost any bike. The biggest question I want to answer on this ride is, would this be a good starter bike? I know sometimes people don't want to go the 250, 800, 1700, 1800 route that I did. This is a pretty light bike at 528 pounds. Let's see how it translates out on the road. All right, here we go. Wow, that is a very light bike. Very, very light. Got the key. Well, nothing that some pipes couldn't fix. I'm going to just sit here and just kind of let it warm up a little bit before I do anything silly. While I'm letting it warm up, why don't we go through the little menu system here. So we've got speedometer that goes up to basically 120 or 200 in kilometers. The instrumentation is pretty much standard Victory. You've got the little trigger over here that gets you through the menus here. So engine temperature is 104 degrees, which ironically is actually the air temperature as well. So gives you the mileage, odometer, current RPMs. It used to be, and I'm pretty sure it's still the same, that you could get a separate gauge cluster that would have an analog tack on it. But for right now, we've just got the digital one. Okay, 118. Okay, so basically you've got your trip odometer, you've got your odometer, you've got a gear indicator, you've got a tachometer, you've got a clock, and an engine thermometer. So let's keep it on the tack for right now. I think we've warmed this up a bit, so let's get ourselves out on the road. Well, this certainly does feel small, but man, it feels nimble. I've got to get used to the brake a little bit here. It's I'm so used to the big old Indian brake pedals. So this thing is meant for performance. So given that, I think I should treat it as such. It's a demo. It's got a little bit of, some mileage to it. Let's see what happens here. Oh yeah. Wow. Okay, that front tire got awfully light, awfully fast. And I'm telling you, that was nothing. That was not, I didn't even stress this thing out. If the bike is sweating right now, it's just from the temperature outside. Man, let's get a little, oh my goodness. That's fantastic. This is, you know what this is? This thing is it's like the love child of a Victory Hammer and an R6, a Yamaha R6. That's basically what it's like. Wow. The only thing about the digital tack is that I don't really see the red line, so I'm not exactly sure, but I think this thing will red line. Wow. Oh yeah. Wow. Okay, that was just like 70 in no time. I don't think I've ever ridden a bike that's this fast. Granted, I don't ride sport bikes or anything, at least not often and not yet, but I don't know that I've ever ridden anything this fast, including the Indian Scout, which is a fine bike in its own right. Wow. Oh my gosh, with the proper pipes, this thing would be absolutely perfect. I mean, seriously guys, this is like fourth gear. It's just gone. Like 50 to 70, no time, nothing at all. It's just fantastic. Wow. Let me drop it down. Well, see, I'm almost afraid to because of the torque here. Here we go. Wow. Wow. Okay. That created feelings that really aren't, that are not proper for a family vlog. Oh my goodness. That is fantastic. My GoPro is hanging off the side of my bike and it's like getting blown around by the wind. Not really blown around, but it's, oh my gosh. This is a blast. I didn't think I was going to like this bike. I have to be honest with you. I really thought it was going to be just, I don't know, it was going to feel too toy-like. But no, this thing is nice. I mean, I can't hear it. I will say you're gonna need pipes. The best pipes I've heard for the Indian Scout, and I would assume they would fit on here, are the Vance & Hines grenades. Those things sound awesome. Oh my gosh. It must seem like I just love every bike I take out, and that's somewhat true. I kind of do, because I love riding. But every bike is so incredibly different, and when you hear people say, well, why do you need more than one motorcycle? Man, they just don't get it. I mean, the difference between riding this and my Roadmaster is, wow. I honestly didn't expect this to be this fast. I know when the Indian Scout came out, some people I knew had taken it out for a ride, and they said, you know, burning rubber in third gear was no issue whatsoever. And this engine is a little bit bigger than the Scout's. A little bit bigger, but it does have a little bit more torque, a little bit more horsepower, and oh my gosh, is this fun. I mean, the exhaust is nothing to write home about stock, but who keeps the stock exhausts on their bikes? I mean, the stock exhausts have to fall within, what is it, EPA guidelines, so who really keeps that on their bikes anyway? Put the right exhaust on this, and oh my gosh, this is fun. It's like, I can't wait for the lights to turn green. Come on, I want to go. Come on. Thank you. Oh. And the handling. Oh, there's going to be a lot of laughing on this vlog. It's like riding an X-Acto knife. This thing, you can put it exactly where you want it to be. It has so much power. And it's just so easy. Wow. So what did I say? I said that I wanted to know okay, that's just silly quick. I said I wanted to know whether or not this would be a good starter bike. Well, how much self-control do you have? If you have a decent amount of self-control, this bike is easy to handle, it's lightweight, and you will be hooked on motorcycling forever. The downside is you could get yourself in a serious amount of trouble with the throttle. You know, I remember thinking with the Indian Scout, if you twist the throttle, it can get away from you. I mean, it can literally, like, as you're holding on, you know, you're twisting it more as you're coming back, and it can just get away from you. And this is obviously the same way. So is it a bike for total beginners? Eesh, I don't know. Let's put it this way. I think it could work, but you have to be the judge as to whether or not you feel like you're, you know, able to be conservative enough or careful enough to control that throttle, because, you know, this is my 5th year of riding, so I'm not an expert by any stretch, but I'm at least smart enough to know when to, you know, hit the gas and when not to, and perhaps what my limits are. The seat is not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. I would not want to take a 4-hour trip on it by any stretch, and again, part of that is because of my weight. I bring that up in every video because it's true. I mean, when you're fat, you tend to, you know, you're heavier on the seat, so there's a little bit more pressure than if you're not. But regardless, I don't think even if you were in shape that you would want this seat for like 4 hours. But this is not meant as a touring bike. I mean, if you just wanted to have constant fun, I guess it could be. The power, guys, is effortless. This is by far faster than the Victory Impulse. And that was no slouch, but this thing is just incredible. Fastest bike I've ever been on. And I know you sport bike guys are going to be like, oh, you know, our sport bikes are much, much faster than that. Well, that's fine. But this is a nice little cruiser riding position for people that, I swear they put those speed bumps in for me. Just as I started doing this series, they started putting them in. But, you know, for people that like the cruiser riding position, I mean, I don't have any weight on my hands right now. I'm leaned forward just a little bit. But it's not uncomfortable. There's no weight on my hands. All the weight is on my butt. And the controls are forward, so there's really no problem with that. I mean, it's just incredible. Oh my gosh. You know how I talked about it was like you in the air on the Victory Impulse? It's a similar feeling because there's just, I don't know, it's like a, this is the epitome of how I explain to people, you know, they say, well, why do you like motorcycles? And, you know, the non-motorcycle people, how they kind of talk to you like that. You know, well, why do you want to ride a motorcycle? And I say to them, oh, there's no stop sign here. Huh. That's actually not what I say to them. But what I say to them is, when you were a kid and you're riding your bike and you're pedaling and you're pedaling and you're pedaling, then you get to the top of a hill and you just coast down, and by the end of the hill you're doing like 30 miles an hour on your bike and you're just overjoyed. That's what it's like all the time on a motorcycle, except for speed bumps. But man, I am incredibly not uncomfortable. I really thought I would be all stretched out and weird, but for me, I mean, this is really nice. I'm not having a problem with this at all. You look at this engine and you think, what could it really do? But then you just take off on it, and the acceleration just blows you away. Absolutely blows you away. I mean, look at this. So here's a car coming, basically. I'm just going to scoot across. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's making me giggle. Oh dear. Two things make me giggle. Margarita. Margarita? I guess that's the plural of margaritas, apparently. Margarita. Just like deer and deer. Margaritas and the Victory Octane. I mean, really, I'm blown away by this thing. So the seat comfort isn't bad at all. The foot position is fine for me. The hand position is fine for me. The mirrors, I'm a pretty wide guy, so I'd probably need a little bit different mirrors. But oh my gosh, I mean, the handling. I don't know that I've ever had this much fun on a test ride. Oh my gosh. And the wind is perfect because you've got this little tiny windshield here, which frankly I think it looks a little bit goofy to me on this bike. But then again, you know, this thing, I was going to say it competes with the Harley 1200 Sportster. I don't know that it actually competes with it because I think it just blows it out of the water in performance. But that has this little windshield thing too, so I guess it's not out of place. But you know what that does is it takes out that huge brunt of wind that would normally want to lift your helmet right off your head. Because, you know, you forget that sport bike riders, when they're riding without a windshield, they have got, you know, they're leaned over. I mean, they're down here. In fact, the helmets are even a little bit different for sport bike riders because they have a higher like brow line up here, so you can look up into your helmet more because you're leaned over more like this. But for a cruiser rider, when you're sitting upright and you're going fast without a windshield, your helmet wants to lift. And just having this little windshield here prevents that. It's just truly awesome. So I'm in 6th gear right now. 2800 RPM at 50 miles an hour. It just feels fantastic. In 6th gear, it still has power. I mean, it's like nothing. Look at this. It's stable. It's just fantastic. You know, when I first saw this kind of, I don't know, drab, sort of matte gray color scheme, I was less than thrilled. But once you're on it, you're like, who cares? This thing is awesome. Unfortunately, there's a vehicle behind me. I'd love to test out the brakes. I'm curious about something on those. I can do that over here. Huh. Well, that didn't tell me anything. Hang on. Turns in beautifully. Nice and smooth. I'm going to try a little bit of a stop here. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, I think it could benefit from dual discs, but I don't think you're in any danger with a single disc. I mean, that didn't strike me as being horrible. And I didn't want to lock up the wheel. It doesn't have ABS, which I'm very surprised at. So I didn't want to lock up the wheel. So I just kind of, you know, I gave it some moderate pressure there, and I stopped. I mean, it was fine. I just think that dual discs may not be a bad idea on a bike this fast, because this is frighteningly fast. I mean, I kid you not, okay? 3rd gear, I'm at currently 3,300 RPM, all right? So I'm at 38 miles an hour. Here we go. And there's 63. And guys, I wasn't even fully on the throttle because I could feel the front wheel getting so light. I was not fully on the throttle. I mean, I'm not comparing it to sport bikes. I'm comparing it to cruisers, and this is absolutely phenomenal for a cruiser. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. So, you know, I said it's not for 4-hour trips, but man, a 2-hour trip, I could easily see that. 2.5, you'd be fine on this. I mean, the seat isn't nearly as bad as I thought. I looked at it and I just thought that does not look like a comfortable seat, but man, it is not bad. I know, it sounds like I'm just gushing, right? But, you know, sometimes you have to. Sometimes a bike deserves it, and this thing truly does. I mean, neutral was just very easy to engage there. Man, I get the feeling I'm going to have a little bit of fun on this stretch here on Route 1. Oh, man. I mean, it's liquid cooled, so you get that extra power that you don't get with an air-cooled bike. What's the engine temperature right now? 183 degrees, okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay, that's 80 miles an hour. That came awfully quick. I mean, if you want to impress your friends and policemen, then that's fantastic. In fact, if your friends are policemen, you can do two at once. But wow, that was 80 miles an hour, and it felt like no time at all. The rear suspension is a little bit is pretty firm. I will say that. I mean, my back has taken a little bit of a beating over some of the bumps. But you know what? There are times when you just feel like that beating is worth it. And this is one of those times. I'm enjoying it that much. Oh my gosh, and it feels so small. It feels like it's like a bicycle. And the power, it just comes on immediately. It's probably a little bit more powerful in the upper RPM range. Thank you, Mr. Policeman, for not being there 2 minutes ago, or a minute ago. I think it's a little bit, it is certainly, I'm willing to bet that the peak torque comes at a higher RPM, because, and certainly with the horsepower as well, because, my gosh, I mean, so that's why I say maybe as a beginner bike, it may not be bad, because you're not going to get all that torque immediately, but as much as I say that, it is absolutely fantastic. Even off the line, it's just fantastic. I can't tell you how surprised I am that I like this bike this much. I just didn't think I would be this enthralled with it. Wow. That's very cool. Very, very cool. Wow. Okay. Very nice.